Many old films like this are lurking in house lofts and cellars. We start this volume with these scenes found in Tenterden Station. They show K and ESR members choosing a terrier at Eastleigh. We think this is on Southend Pier. This film was part of a home movie taken on holiday in the 30s. From the southern comes what we think is the long, gloomy winter of 1947, when the South Western Division was struggling with iced-up electric trains. Any old steam engine, it seems, had been dragged out of the scrap lines to keep trains moving. It's now 1961 in the hop-picking areas of Kent. This gentleman is looking over his old closed station at Hawkhurst. He remembered the days when he used to work in London, returning each night, and after catching up with world news, gets ready to alight at Paddock Wood. He reluctantly observed the notice of closure for his local branch line. He was so punctual, the loco crew used to wait for him. This engine is an H-class. The little stations came and went, and it was time to arrive at Hawkhurst. He knows the ticket collector well, having used the line for many years. The closure is discussed. The last day of operation came in June 1961. The locals decided to come in and give the occasion a lively send-off. A C-class loco was rostered to deal with the inevitable large crowd expected. Arriving at Hawkhurst, a more sombre crowd of locals greeted the train. Today the undertakers seem to be enjoying their job. The last train to leave Hawkhurst. At least it was steam to the end. The train, having arrived at Paddock Wood, finds a welcoming crowd of admirers, and in the failing light, the cameraman has to use a fast film stock, giving a turn-of-the-century look to the proceedings. The mourners are still enjoying their bereavement, while others reflect on the loss of yet another branch line. Returning to the scene in 1987, Paddock Wood Station hasn't changed at all, apart from the new signs. The branch bay is still here. A motor repair garage has taken over Horsmondon Station. This was the signal cabin. Platform edging, quite prominent too. The station master's house, now in private hands. We should be grateful for this being preserved by the owners of the Hawkhurst station site. It is now a very busy woodyard. For a complete change of location and railway, Carlisle Station, situated at the top of England, and many of the cross-country routes can be extremely busy with mail and long-distance trains.
This train is servicing all lines from Glasgow Central. Platform 4 for 14.
What was Carlisle like in steam days? Ken Atwood spent a lot of time and film capturing the last few years of steam traction here. Carlisle was, in 1966, host to many steam-hauled specials. Jubilee-class Colliper, minus nameplates, is here today. This type of engine spent many years working over the Settle route from Leeds, with named trains like the Thames Clyde Express. A stranger from the western region, Clun Castle, has just travelled from Leeds. It's the only known instance of a castle doing this. Although built by British Railways, the loco is very much the classic collet design. Meanwhile, this 262 tank, the station pilot, is marshalling a parcels train bound for Glasgow. The loco was made redundant from the south. The distinctive shape of Sir Nigel Gresley emerges out of the gloom, passing the site of the old Midland loco shed. Clun Castle is back and ready for its journey to Leeds. The main loco depot for Carlisle was the ex-LMS shed at Kingmore, situated on the main West Coast line. Holbeck-based Alberta is going to be turned after passing a Black 5. Blue Peter is on its way to Glasgow. It's the only A2 preserved now. Although the lines of dead engines continue to grow, in the Leeds area, train spotters had plenty of double headers to see, filmed by Alan Wilmot. At Liss, on the London to Portsmouth line, passengers might spot the remains of an old platform nearby, almost hidden by trees. This little waiting room still stands as a memorial to the line. It's been 18 years since trains last called here. Online cameras came here in 1968 when it was the southern terminus of the once extensive Longmoor Military Railway. Once a year the Royal Corps of Transport held open days, and this little station at Liss became the start of a wonderful day here and at Longmoor. Everybody could ride around all day for nothing. Gordon was one of the Ministry of Supply locomotives, built by North British in 1943 and used by the Royal Engineers on military railways during and after the Second World War. It was specially designed to require no pit for servicing. This is Longmoor Yard. Here were stored many privately owned locos, as well as the military ones. On the left, Blackmore Vale, now on the Bluebell. David Shepherd had 2 engines here. Longmoor Down Station was fully equipped to train soldiers to run trains in countries at war. After closure in 1969, Gordon went to the Severn Valley Railway. And the austerity tank Errol Lonsdale went first to the K&ESR, then the Mid-Hants Railway. Today, very little remains at Longmoor. The bridge has gone. The main depot is now an assault course. No more trains will cross here. Longmoor Downs Station has gone. Now it's the edge of a firing range. A scheme to form a little preserved line here came to nothing, and stock gathering here dispersed in 1972. Moving on to 1986, two A4s were on the Marylebone run. First is Sir Nigel Gresley at Ruislip, closely followed by Mallard. Mallard made many appearances at York in 1986. York today often has steam locos passing through. Nearby, just a few streets away, a railway came back to life briefly using steam traction. Joem was its main loco, and it had been on the Keighley-Worth Valley line beforehand. However, the line didn't prosper, and after 1 or 2 seasons was taken up and removed. Now we turn to the Great Western. In 1985, it celebrated its 150th birthday. Many events took place. Steam trains ran, exhibitions opened. A special train toured the country. A great exhibition was to have been held at Swindon Works. But because BR had just announced that Swindon would close down, the staff there didn't want to cooperate, not surprisingly, so it was called off. A replica of the broad gauge loco Iron Duke ran on a special track in Hyde Park, London.
Swindon, this is Swindon. The train platform 3 is the delayed 11:30 departure for Western.
On this foggy day in 1987, the works looked very desolate. Most of the workforce have gone, leaving familiar things about. Things look different in the 1930s with the loco being tested. Western region maintained its individual character by using diesel hydraulic locos. The last Class 52s, the Westerns, leaving Paddington in 1977. Most of them were scrapped at Swindon. This steam crane from Hither Green has just been overhauled and was being tried out. The works today vastly differ from the beginnings in 1843. They just barely exist, awaiting general closure in March 1987. The wheel shop has some work, but it's probably the last. In another shop, general scrapping is going on. Components are taken out and the shells go outside for cutting up. Today, a rare glimpse of the transporter. Not gleaming Great Western engines, but the empty bodies of today's diesels. We make no excuse for repeating these scenes from Volume 1. This old travel film reminds us about travel on the narrow gauge. People have enjoyed the little trains of Wales for many years, and it's no surprise to find the Festiniog celebrating its 150th year. It's April 1986 at Port Maddock, and the first train of the day, the 0945, is about to depart. A diesel shuttle took the ever-increasing crowds to Boston Lodge Works. Not this line, but maybe this one. It's definitely first. Well-filled trains ran all day. Now we're going to Blano Festinio. At Boston Lodge Works, Challoner was on display. She'd been brought over for the occasion. At Minford, slate trains were to run. After Prince takes out the vintage train to Port Maddock, the slate train, now working on gravity, returns. Waterloo today, with its great variety of coach stock and locomotives, still is worth an hour or two of grising and spotting. The Southern, always very concerned with electric traction, has seen a variety of trains over the years. The two-bill was for many years the mainstay of the SR commuter traffic. It's seen here going to an exhibition at Cannon Street Station in 1986. It's coupled to a 4 sub-unit and gave shuttle rides all day to London Bridge. BR's Network Southeast livery is well shown on this 455, shuttling from Waterloo East. There were many attractions here today, and many representatives from railway societies. This 73 had just been named. Also present today, Sir Lamiel in steam, but going nowhere. It was used a lot on the Marylebone runs. It became one of the regulars at Marylebone. In December 1986, Sir Lamiel ran to High Wycombe from Marylebone, doing 2 trips on one day. Because of having no turning facilities at High Wycombe, locos ran light. Also to appear today, 4472. 4472 was bought from BR by Mr. Alan Pegler, and a second tender was added to alleviate the water problem. It was to be seen in the London area quite a few times in 1968. At King's Cross, it celebrated the 40th anniversary of the running of the express Flying Scotsman. The rundown station of Finsbury Park contrasts with 4472's polished condition.
Are you right? Right. All right to go, Jim.
Then it was shipped to America. Complete with cowcatcher, made some runs with British coaches. At Carnforth it celebrated its 60th year and made some trips between York and Peterborough. For the last year or so it's made quite a few appearances on the Marylebone runs, and we end this recording with a departure that captures the full romanticism of the age of steam.